One day I'm gonna be everything I wanna be. I don't let it get the most of me. One day I'm gonna be free. I wanna be everything I'm gonna be. My future right in front of me. One day I'm gonna be free. I wanna be free. So let me be free. One day I'm gonna be free. Mentally, physically, emotionally, spiritually. Yeah. One day I'm gonna be free. I'm standing at the crossroads, feeling like a lost soul. Don't know where I wanna go, but all I know is I wanna be free. They're telling me to let it be, but that just ain't in me, no. Jealousy and envy, but all I see is I wanna be free. See everything I wanna be, exactly what I'm gonna be. Don't let it get the most of me. Eventually, I'm gonna be free. See everything I wanna be, exactly what I'm gonna be. Yeah. One day I'm gonna be free. I'm gonna be free. Let me be free. One day I'm gonna be free. Mentally and physically, emotionally and spiritually. Yeah. One day I'm gonna be free. I told them take their aim off me. Stop trying to get a name off me. If they would just let me be, I'm gonna be free. I told them take them chains off me and throw away the locks and keys. If they would just let me be, eventually I'm gonna be free.
They're back.
What up, though? 7 days and we're back again for another episode of Dominant Effect. I'm Archbishop. We got Mike Ball, Aaron Olinger. What's up, everybody? Glad you tuning in tonight for another one of these shows we about to put out. But before we jump into that, like always, we check to see what everybody done for the week. So, what's up, Aaron? How was your week, brother?
Oh, it's been busy. I've got Diamond Effect tonight. I've got a seminar at a church tomorrow for winter survival. Then I've got a gun show this weekend. So my whole week is just busy right now.
Heard that. Yeah, for me, it's been, of course, just neck deep into this show that I do Monday through Friday, and it's been a radical ride. I can tell you one thing: it's definitely led me to have some crazy connections I never thought I may have before. I was able to have dinner with the next Alabama senator last night, and that was a really awesome time to be able to be a part of, be considered. So it was really, really a good time.
Yeah, I seen that on there, man. I was going to ask you about how'd that turn out. Looked like you did have a good time, though. That's a
phenomenal
good thing to do. This week has been it's been something else. It's been like one turn after the next. It's just been something. But everything's cool. Just you know how it's just sometimes you just have like hiccups along the way. You know what I mean? You just gotta know
Absolutely.
you just gotta know how to handle the situations and be able to push through. So but overall though, everything doing good. Family wise, everybody good. My sister did get out the hospital. She's recuperating. Um, so that's a good thing. But overall, everything pretty good. Can't complain. Now, before we start into this, I was asking Mike, and I'm gonna have him to explain to everybody because I see a couple comments on her already. Explain what this vertical and horizontal is, so that way people understand exactly what's going on.
Right. And no problem on that. Real quick, Miss D, thank you for dropping and becoming a member. Very much appreciate that. That goes a long way. So yeah, there's 4 live streams essentially on YouTube happening right now. We have my side and then an Archbishop side. So there is a vertical and horizontal live stream for both sides. And StreamYard has come out with an ability to be able to stream to both of the algorithms to YouTube, which is the short side essentially, which is the vertical live streams, and then we have the horizontal, which is normal and standard that we normally have. So, but it definitely brings in a lot of different viewers and stuff like that. So it's a great way to grow.
Yeah, I had no idea. We was sitting there playing around with it, and I knew he did. So so we're gonna see how this works. So, but we're gonna so we're gonna jump in this story for the week. So what I titled this show was what's driving a wedge in America right now. So to kind of summarize a lot of that, I'm just gonna go by saying this: the world is kind of heavy right now. If you on several different bases, so you can sense it in the air, the frustration, the uncertainty, quiet tension between who we are versus who we're becoming, in every direction, in the same story told in different accents, protests, distrust, division, fear, from Washington to Warsaw, from Chicago to Gaza. The world feels like it's standing on a threshold right now. But here in America, the pressure feels personal. It's not just politics. It's spiritual. It's emotional. It's generational. And we're watching a nation that once stood for hope and leadership now kind of wrestle in that reflection. So the truth is, America's unrest mirrors is the world's instability. And what we're living through is not just a political change, but actually psychological warfare, a test for our own creative souls. So today, on the Dominant Effect, we're going to explore into that fight a little bit. The one thing happening inside our borders and also within ourselves. So we'll trace the echoes in history and the powers on both ends, and we're going to see what we can come out of this. So I think the first part of this, like I said in the opening, we're talking about the mirrors of the world and its instability. So we'll go into that first. So from the mass protests and political division, America's unrest mirrors images of what happened globally. So the tension seen in Washington, D.C. and L.A. is echoed by what went on in Paris and Canada and in the U.K. and in London. People everywhere are losing faith in institutions, questioning leadership, and demanding reform. Now, historically, we've seen this kind of situation and this kind of social volatility before. So back in the late 60s, classic example, you had anti-war movements, you had the Prague Spring in Czechoslovakia, you had the civil rights movement that also went around the world. So these moments didn't just happen in isolation. They were global reflections of a collective dissatisfaction of power and also inequality. So, why is that important? Because understanding that America's turbulence isn't just a domestic issue helps us to see the bigger pattern here. And that is the world is undergoing a psychological and moral reset, whether we want to or not. And the struggle isn't left versus right, it's human struggle versus truth, fairness versus stability, and the age of confusion over upload. So I know that was a lot to say right there. But when you sit back and you look at a lot of this stuff, it kind of puts you in the mind of history repeating itself. Just different people, same stage,
Mm-hmm.
same stage, different audience, same thing goes around. And the weirdest part about that is that you would think that if you learn from what happened in history, that keeps you from making present day mistakes. But that still happens.
Of
So
course.
so now we in a situation where there's a lot of moving parts going on. Some that we know about, some that we don't. It's a lot of stuff now that's being put out there. And with the hopes that it gets put out there enough to where it kind of catches on to where you get used to the situation going on and you get used to the habit of it for a more easier transition. Because if you look at the writing on the walls, it's perfectly clear as to what's going on here. A lot of people still don't see it. So this is some of the stuff we're going to talk about today. So I'm gonna hit you first, Aaron. What's your take on this, brother?
Well, I say that you're hitting everything on the head. The only thing that I'm going to add to it is, yes, we've learned lessons from history, and we've evolved. And I'll give you an example of how we've evolved. I mean, back in ancient times with ancient empires, Rome, Greece, different ones, they all projected power and they ruled through annexation of property, and territorial gains that they gained, they occupied those lands. We've learned from that. We don't overextend ourselves now. What we do is we exert influence through our global military bases that are located all over the world. We do it through trade agreements and through our cultural exports. That gives it a influence greater than the empires that were defined by borders. So people may not realize it, but we're exuding. I don't want to say absolute control, but um, most people can't do much without coming to us because our money's the world currency. We got military bases everywhere. Uh, our naval fleets with those carrier task force extends power to other people's borders. I mean, we don't have to occupy the territory. We don't have to spend the money on soldiers to occupy. We evolved from the old way to a newer way, and I'll stop there.
Mm-hmm. Now, to add on to what you just said there. Now, for generations, the U.S. presented itself as being the stable power on the planet. We
Mm-hmm.
became the peacekeepers, or you say the world police, or however you want to put it. And that's what we did for decades. Is what we've been doing.
Right.
Now, we put this persona on that we're doing this to protect these other nations and promote democracy and independence and all that. But inside our own borders, it's like an emotional war itself.
Mm-hmm.
So you got actual citizens here turning on each other. You got the ideology, you got the fear, you got the identity. Um, it isn't just merely politics. It's a social psychology that's unraveling here. And just as the wars abroad often began with propaganda, it also here in the States starts with the perception. So you got social media that kind of replace the public square. You got the algorithms that's now determining what we hear, what we see,
Mhm.
who pushes out the hate, who pushes out the propaganda, who pushes out the regular bullshit, because it seems like all the stupid stuff, and if you sitting around um, spreading a particular type of hate, fear, or something stupid, that's what gets promoted. Anything that's actually important gets pushed to the side.
Of course, that's social media algorithms for you all day long.
Exactly. So in that sense, America is no longer leading in the world; it's mirroring it. So the polarization in Washington echoes the same fragmentation as it does globally. East versus West, freedom versus control, truth versus the narrative. The difference is this time, the front line isn't on a foreign desert. It's right here in the U.S. And we got to pick up, there has to come a time that we got to pick up our own pieces here. Because how do you put off that you are the greatest country in the world and you the police of the planet, but your home is shattered? You ever heard the saying, um, a house on crack foundation will never stand?
Mm-hmm.
That's exactly what we're doing right now. You know what I mean? And it's not, like I said before, this isn't a political thing here. This is just mano y mano, people. And we are so divided now. It's unreal.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of people, if you ask them, what's your actual reasoning? What is it that was actually done to you to make you want to do this? Half of them don't even fucking know. They following somebody else. They following what they hear or what they seeing on YouTube, and TikTok, and Facebook, and anyone else that plays these videos. It's what you're paying attention to. Not actual fact to you. Hasn't actually happened to you. But what's the end result, though? The end result is that everybody stays divided, everybody stays distracted. And as long as those two things are present, everything else will go right by. You're not even paying attention to. So, what's your take on that, Mike?
Well, unfortunately, I regards to what is driving a wedge, I look at it as social media has a humongous stranglehold on the United States, probably the world as well, but I'm only going to speak for the United States. And unfortunately, the parties themselves, they're a detriment to society, to be honest. They are creating a further and further and further divide. And unfortunately, that's when you see radicals on both sides of the equation be born. It's unfortunate, because it didn't have to go to this level, and we can always fix it, but yet we're still falling for the stupid shit every time. So it's very unfortunate.
Mm-hmm. What do you think, Aaron?
Well, I'm going to say this: America's inner division is based on politics, religion, race, culture, financial status, ideological ideals. I mean, the media right now is being used to push fear and hate, and it's a powerful mindset that they're using. You hear them bring up the term polarization or emotional fatigue. Polarization is the divisions into two sharply contracting groups or sets of opinions or belief. You're creating that division, and then emotional fatigue is a symptom of being burned out. You're feeling of being overextended or exhausted by your work. Now, those two things combined can affect a person's mental ability. For some people, it'll make them want to seek peace, to have peace in their life, to avoid all that. But then others that can't see what's being brought before them, they fall for it. I mean, propaganda is the first state of warfare. You got to create the villain. Then you create the chaos or the crisis. And then creating a crisis, you're directing people's minds toward it, like we just saw recently with the food stamp crisis that a lot of us just experienced. That was definitely man-made. I mean, that wasn't something that occurs naturally in nature. And then you focus people's minds in a particular direction with misinformation. Everybody's putting out who caused it, who's doing this, who's using people. But fear and hate was being pushed at the same time. Now, when you got stuff going on,
Oh man, right when he was in it, he got a phone call.
Oh, what happened?
Oh, it's so brutal. It's like, man, when you're on live stream, I've had that happen to me personally, and that's so frustrating.
Man,
He'll be back. He'll be back.
yeah, he'll be back on here in a minute.
That's right.
But
Damn. He was on a roll.
right. So to tag in until he gets back. One of the things that I was going to say before is that when perception becomes a weapon, the truth becomes a casualty. So the more polarized a population, the easier it is to control. Like Aaron was saying before, recognizing this is considered psychological warfare, and it allows people to reclaim their own mental sovereignty, and to think independently. So the questions, the narratives, and the refuse to be emotionally weaponized is what I would say. Is now does that just happen? No. It happens when you start paying attention for what stuff really is, and not about who it belongs to, who said it. Takes the facts for what it is.
Yes, by saying,
because that's been the biggest thing that I think that we all seem to drop the ball on from times, is that you listen to someone and then the first thing in your mind say, you know what, he don't have no reason to lie to me. Gotta be the truth. And you go with it. And then later on you find out that it's not what it was told to be. Because every lie begins with the truth.
Yeah, anybody that tells me, trust me, bro, I don't trust them.
Right.
You know, trust me, bro. No, I don't trust a motherfucking thing. Real quick, we got Ralph Perry coming in with the $4.99. I very much appreciate that, making it rain in the chat. So thank you for that.
Yeah, so every lie begins with the truth. And I say this to people all the time when we be talking. It's real easy to tell a lie, but thinking that you're telling the truth. And it's all about the details. I always say the devil's in the details. So it's not, you can start out by telling the truth, and by you twisting a couple things, even though it's still in the story, it makes it a lie because of what you're actually saying. I mean, and your reasoning for saying it. So, like, for instance, I could call Aaron and I could tell Aaron a story about something. And then I can call you, Mike, because I want you to feel something differently.
Right. You can skew that a little bit.
Right. Because I'm going to tell you the same story, but I'm going to skew it just a little bit to get you to agree.
Manipulation.
Me, same way that I got him to agree.
That's
now,
right.
You two don't know that I talked to both of you. You know what I mean? Now, I told him something for him to back me. I told you something to get you to back me. But you still don't know the truth behind it. Once you find out the truth behind it, then you're like, okay, he lied to me. But in my mind, I told you the truth. I just didn't tell you everything.
Yep, that's right. Withholding the truth,
right?
You know?
Right. And that's what goes on now. It's like, no, I'm telling you the truth. This is what happened. I didn't tell you everything.
Oh, yeah. That gives you context.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. I didn't tell you everything. And that's the problem. That's the problem that we always have. You know what I mean? So when you hear all this stuff on TV, and like I said, you can watch Fox and hear a story, and you can watch the same thing on MSNBC, and they talking about the same thing, but they give you two different perceptions of it. But what's the actual truth, though? So you have to listen to both to figure out what the truth is in the middle of it, because one is going to tell you this to steer you that direction, and one's going to tell you this to steer you in this direction. You have to take both of those and figure out what that truth is in the middle. Because once you find out the truth, a lot of times the truth really isn't that interesting.
Right. It's boring as fuck. And that's why they sauce it up.
Right.
It's got to make headlines, somehow.
People roll with a lie because a lie is interesting. A lie, you can make it whatever you want it to be.
It's sexy.
But these lies is being told now, it's going to end up being detrimental. Some people going to end up getting hurt from a lie. You know what I mean? You're going to have problems. There's going to be problems. Like we sit here talking about Snap. Okay, hell with Snap. Let's talk about the real stuff right now. The other stuff that's brewing that ain't nobody talking about. I really don't want to talk about. You know what I mean? It's about to be heated here real soon, whether you know it or not. It's going to be heated. Now, a lot of these people is going to be involved in this, and people are going to get hurt, feelings hurt, emotionally hurt, physically hurt on a lie.
Unfortunately, yeah.
That's how it's going to be. It's going to be over. It's going to be on a lie. It's going to be what somebody told you to get you.
And then they assume.
What they do.
And then they assume. And I mean, a lot of times you can research these things. That's why what's great about our show, we always say, don't take what we say at face value. Go research exactly what we just told you and confirm that we're correct. That's the best part about it.
People don't like to research it because they'd rather just sit there and hit it on a thing. I'm like, oh, yeah, okay, well, that's what they said. That's what it is.
Yep, absolutely.
Not actually putting two and two together is to realize that my truth is not always the truth. That's my truth.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
That's a story of the truth. Right.
Right. And my truth is when I depict this back to you, I'm giving you my truth.
Mm-hmm.
May not be the actual truth. It's going to be enough that you're going to take my side on it, though. You know what I mean? You're going to defend me based on the truth that I gave you. That's one of the biggest problems that we got going on now. But let's talk about the actual historic parallels to this mirroring that we've been talking about. So history just doesn't repeat itself. It just kind of rhymes. So you take ancient Rome, you take the British Empire, you take all these great empires of the old, and they all fell. But they didn't fall because of foreign invasions. It was all internal. You had that whole internal rot, that moral decay, that corruption, that economic inequality, the loss of civil trust. For instance, like in Rome, citizens stopped believing in the government. The wealthy elite distracted from the common. The politics became a theater rather than actual governing. So that the same could be said of the late stages of the Ottoman Empire, where internal divisions and the loss of innovation kind of made them obsolete.
Yeah.
These nations were all great nations at once, and they all fell. But they did not fall because they were invaded by another country.
It's always internal. Always.
They killed each other from within.
Yep. Imploded.
So this is what we was meaning by the mirror. Because if you take what's going on right now and you take what went on then, you got the same thing. You just got different players. It's the exact same thing. The exact same thing is going to happen if we don't wise up and do the right thing.
Yeah,
That
we're
goes
not
all the way
bulletproof.
around.
We're
Right.
not
That goes
bulletproof
all
from
the way
this
around.
situation. Yeah, we're screwed. I mean, I don't know what the true fact of the matter is. We're in $38 trillion in debt. That's what I do know. And I'm pretty sure that that is probably the most amount that any country owes guaranteed. You know, I can say that without looking it up, you know, and still be at the point where our economy somewhat still works. I mean, look at these different countries. I mean, people talk about this Argentina whole thing. Look at what just happened. You know, $40 billion was bought. Trump bought the peso, basically. It's, to me, I look at it as like, we're not in a position, we're in $38 trillion in fucking debt. And we are not in the point to be able, like, it's not like we're at zero debt and we've got some money that we can kind of buy some influence. No, you got to time that shit, you know? And I look at us as like, we're already in hyperinflation.
Mm-hmm.
We're not in the position to be able to do these kind of moves anymore.
No, and you're not. And like I said, it's history that's coming back to repeat. I mean, now, but the thing with this is that you know about the past. So recognizing those patterns is basically a warning to you. So the history part of it teaches you that decay from within always precedes collapse. Now, if America itself learns from the past and the past mistakes and actually take effort in restoring civil values, investing in the middle class, rebuilding faith based on truth, key word, based on truth, it can transform rather than fall. Now, we can talk about that, but is it actually going to be done?
Yeah.
No. No, they're not going to do it. Now, you have individuals, you'll have groups of people that will try to do that, that will come out and actually preach this. But for the masses to actually fall for it, to the point of it actually meaning something, I don't see it happening. What you think?
Asking me?
Yeah, go ahead, Aaron.
Okay. I would say that you're right. You look at Rome, I mean, they had corruption, they had sexual immorality, they had slavery, they had selfish values where it's all about me. The fall of Rome occurred due to internal strife and external attacks. I mean, once they became weak internally, they could not fight off the attacks of the enemies that they made. Rome was founded on good values, but along the line, they became lapsed. You look at any dynasty or any sort of empire that existed, once they became corrupted from within and the moral decay got rooted into everything, they all went under. But until that happened, you couldn't touch them. You fast forward to the United States. Rome's leader was equal to our president. Their Senate was equal to our Congress. And then it goes down from there. The peasants have always had to go fight the wars so that the kings and queens could gain more territory and gain more power. Today, we have the lower class people, the working class, whatever, makes up a lot of the military. The ruling elite are not enlisting in the military, and it's still going on today. You can fast forward to now and see certain things. You see where we may do things a little bit different. We may have evolved, but it's still going on. I mean, you've got like you got AI, you've got tech, you got media manipulation, like you said earlier. They're forcing people to question everything. I mean, right now I'm looking at different news things that look real. And then I find out later it's AI. It's not even a real news report. But with all this misinformation going on, it's going to be hard for people to know what is real and what isn't, because media has become that more technologically advanced. You can't tell a fake news report from a real one right now.
Well, not only that, Aaron, but unfortunately, people now have a voice. Back in the day, you used to have like some resume behind what you say. Unfortunately, now you can just go onto Instagram, create an account, have 0 followers, and have a 15 million viewed video, and because you're saying some radical shit, whatever
Yeah.
the case is, right? And unfortunately, that rewards that kind of behavior. And back then, if you were getting that kind of viewership, you had some sort of resume. Like you've been a political analyst for 30 years, like now anybody has a voice. And truthfully, sure, everyone has the freedom of speech, but not everyone has the right to be fucking heard. You know what I mean? So,
But the point I'm wanting to make here is we're telling the world that they have to have human rights, they have to do certain things, but we don't have that totally 100% here. I mean, use the Vietnam War as an example. A lot of black soldiers went overseas to fight for human rights and then come back to this country to systemic racism. I mean, we almost have the attitude, do as I say, but not as I do. And to me, that's totally wrong. You got these people that are running around there being easily sidetracked with misinformation, and they're not seeing what is coming down the road that Bishop was alluding to, which is the digital ID. I mean, total control would be taken away from people. Your freedoms are going to be taken away. Once the digital ID comes into being, the digital currency, the new world religion, all those other religions are going to be banned. There's only going to be one religion at that point. And man, it's going to get really, really bad here. And the number of people that are going to fight against this, and will there be a revolution? Yeah, it's going to be a spiritual revolution, because anyone that knows what that digital ID represents is going to fight against this. So it's going to be a crisis that's going to happen, and a crisis is the unifier. I mean, you create a crisis that if it's man-made, you can unify a lot of people behind a certain movement, a certain crisis. But in this case, the spiritual awakening that's going to happen, it's going to be the spiritual people that's going to be going around telling others that this is what's about to go down, and we got to stop this from happening. But I don't think they're going to be able to stop anything. What's going to happen is written in the book, and there ain't going to be no stopping this. So I don't know what people are going to do at this point, but they better be preparing, because it's only going to get worse. And I'll stop there.
Now, have you noticed how, like here within the past, let's say 2 months, how much the whole digital ID has been talked about now?
Yeah.
When
Yeah.
before there was
totally.
nobody was saying a word about it. Now it's
I feel like we were
everybody
like the
talking about
first people talking about that.
Yeah.
Yeah, now it's everywhere. Now everybody's talking about it. So you had over in the UK here recently where they we showed a video on one of the other episodes where they were saying that you had to have the digital ID in order to be able to work. And then I seen another video shortly after that where they were saying that you had to have it in order to be able to purchase food over in the UK, whatever. I don't know whether that's happened or not. So anybody watching over in the UK, fill us in. Let us know what's going on.
I heard it was the same thing with flights even too.
Right. That's what I was getting ready to say. Now they
Oh
had
shit.
another situation where they had a lot of British citizens that was coming back. They were over in the EU, and they had changed everything to where you had to have digital ID. You had to have the rectal scans and all that stuff in order to be able to get on the planes. And the ones that were going over to the EU from Britain didn't know about it, so they couldn't fly over, and then the ones that was over there couldn't get home. So it was a whole big mix up. You know what I mean? That was going on. I also seen a thing over in Utah where they were trying to experiment with digital ID. It's being talked about a whole lot more in the past couple months than it's ever been talked about. And what usually happens once you get to talking about it so much, they start putting it in existence.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, and that's
just
why,
like politicians.
yeah. You know, when I was in the airport, you know, they have that thing called Clear. You know what I'm talking about? When you can go, keep from having to go through the
Yes.
security, you can go through Clear. It does like a rectal scan and all that, and then you can go on through. There's been many a times I done sat there and looked at that line and ain't a soul over there. Everybody standing in line over here. And I'll be like, you know what? I could really go over there and go through this line and be at my gate by now, but I'd be damn if I'm gonna go over there and let them.
No kidding.
Let them scan my damn rectal. I'm at my damn retina. I'm not gonna let them do it.
Right? I don't blame you. I don't blame you at all. I wouldn't do it either.
But that's what's getting ready to go on. You know what I mean?
Scary.
And like I said, it's gonna cause a big mess. It's gonna be mass protests. People ain't gonna like it, the whole bit. But like we said before, how will they make it to where everybody will accept it? They'll fuck everything else up to where you have no choice but to take it.
Yeah, of course. They have to eventually force it.
Mm-hmm.
Because you get people to do it willingly first. You get those people that are willingly wanting to do it. And then once you do that and everyone's talking about whatever, then all of a sudden they come in and say, now you have to. And if you don't, this is what's going to happen.
Right.
You won't be able to do shit, motherfucker. You know, yeah, that's crazy. You won't be able to buy a candy bar.
And then I'm going to add to it the propaganda that will be put in place once they get people signing up for it, and you won't have any other choice. The resistance, the few that refuse to go for the okie doke on that, they will invoke a propaganda campaign to label those as fanatics. And the cost of the chaos here is they're going to cause people's hearts to harden against that body of people. And they're going to lose sympathy for that body of people because they're going to say, well, I'm doing it. I see nothing wrong with them. People are crazy. But they got to make the few that resist look like fanatics or try to vilify them some kind of way so that they can get no sympathy from the public and they cannot win hearts and minds over to their cause. But I'll stop there.
You know, the other day I was thinking when I was looking over this stuff here. And so, you know, with a lot of this stuff that I do on here, when I'm looking up this stuff, you got to look at the good, the bad, and the ugly. That's what I was trying to type to Papa, but YouTube flagged it. Well, I don't know why it flagged it, but it did. What I was going to tell him was that I agree with you, but I have to talk about both sides, whether I agree with it or not.
Right.
But just for the sake of argument, I'm going to say this. There's a quiet awakening happening. There are actual people that seeking meaning beyond politics. People that want to return to mindfulness, spirituality, and at times of great confusion, history always produces this moral rebirth, so to speak. The Great Depression, for example, gave rise to the New Deal, and then it renewed a sense of collective duty. By the 1960s, you give birth to the civil rights movement, feminism, um, environmentalism. Um, but now today, those that actual chaos is pushing people to reconnect in values more like empathy and compassion and wanting to know that the real truth, not your truth, but the actual truth. But why is that what I just said important? So this awakening kind of represents humanity's immune system of fighting back. So as institutions falter, people are building new foundations, rooted in awareness and peace, and proving that social change begins internally before it manifests externally. Now, that doesn't that's not for everybody. But like I said, you got to talk about both sides. Now there is, you do have people that just plain on stuck on division, whether it's racial, political, social, and then you have people that try to go above and beyond that. You know what I mean? That particular, like, that course of action is is not what I choose to do. I choose to be more on this side. And that's applauded. And you have a lot of community organizations that actually promotes that. Um, and you and these citizens that's actually reclaiming their power through connection rather than confusion. You do have you do have groups that actually promote that. But what has to happen is that those groups have to be more broad spectrum to where it reaches more people so that, because not everybody has the mindset on hate, destruction, and let's keep everything divided, and what I mean, all this other shit. A lot of people don't think that way. I mean, now, do you have a small percentage that do? Yes. Has it always been that way? Yes. Are you ever gonna get rid of that? No. But for the majority, there has to be another way to do this because, as we said earlier, history is slowly repeating itself here. This is this is no different than what happened in Rome. This is no different what happened in and during the British, and it's definitely going to happen here. It's just going to be more advanced. It's going to be more technological. It's going to be more controlling because this is what they want. They want control. They want it to where they run everything. They want it to where you have no say. And if you don't act right or you say something that's against what they want, then they gonna flag you and they're gonna come get you and they're gonna try to take your money and close your accounts and all that jazz because you don't want to act right. Like I said in the previous show, you probably take mine within a week because I know I'm not gonna act right. I already know that. I mean, so mine probably won't last a week. So my best bet is probably go off grid. That probably be my best bet because I know I'm not gonna act right for real.
I can't behave myself, Yeah, I
Right,
got you. I respect that.
right. And I'm a personally, I mean, I'm gonna do it on purpose. I'm gonna purposely be disrespectful. Why? Because I don't like people telling me what to do. You know what I
That's right.
mean? That's just, it's like I don't have, like, I may want to do something, but I don't have to do shit
Damn
if
straight.
I don't want to. You know what I mean? So it may be best for me to jump out in the woods and take
That's what
my
that's what
grab my
I've done.
bag and my camper and all my other shit and hit the woods because I know I can live out there. I mean, I know for certain I can do it, and I'll probably be better off.
Come hang out with the homie. Come over here. You know what I mean? You'd be good.
May have to do that. What was you gonna say, Aaron?
Well, I want to confirm some of the things you're saying here. back in the days of the kings and queens and stuff, like I said, you had the serfs, you had the peasants. That was your lower class. You only had rich and poor. Here in the United States, we have a poor, we have a working class, we have a middle class, upper middle class, lower middle class, and then we have rich. We also have a U.S. Constitution. Now, they cannot get rid of the Constitution. That would start a civil war within this country. However, you can circumvent it with a digital ID. You can put everybody back in the poorhouse. Everybody becomes a debt slave at that point. They're not wearing a slave collar around their neck, but they've lost all their freedoms and they're a slave to the system at that point, whether people want to admit that or not. And people better realize what's coming and join together to resist this, because this is going to be a bad deal. And like I said, they're going to totally circumvent the U.S. Constitution by bringing forward the digital currency, digital ID, and all this stuff. They ain't got to change it. They don't have. At first, they talked about it, but nobody was going to go for changing the Constitution. So now they found a way to circumvent it. And people are about to see the reality of this probably by 2030. If it goes that long, because I know Europe is supposed to convert by 2028. That's just a few years down the road. But they're getting ready to get rid of working class, middle class, and all this stuff. It's going to be the ruling elite, and everybody else is the peasants. But I'll stop there.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. This is the stuff that I'm I'm laughing because it's just it's funny because this is the stuff that we've been talking about for a long time. We've been talking about this well over a year.
No kidding. And you can go back in the directory and go see where we said that shit a year or plus ago. It's awesome to be able to have video proof and timestamps.
Right. And I remember back when we was doing that, and there was people on there on the chat talking about, oh, that's a conspiracy theory. Nah, AB, nah, Mike, that ain't what we doing.
Totally.
I remember this.
Totally.
I even remember some of the names on it, but I ain't gonna say. But I remember some of the names. And there's a couple of them that's on here right now that was one of the ones that said.
That's funny.
So I ain't gonna say the name, but it's funny how we brought it up. It's sad on the other extent because, like I was telling you guys before, we were right about what we were saying, but I hate the fact that we were right because we know what the next thing's going to happen, next thing and the next thing, based off of all these dots that we kept connecting. And I remember, Mike, you said a couple of times on the show, it seems like all these shows that we're doing seems to be connecting dots.
Yep, and like another link to the chain, you know?
Right. Now, they wasn't prepared that way. I never thought about it that way as we were doing it. But it did. All of it had its own unique connection to it until we got to where we're at now. And, you know, the 2030 agenda, people have been talking about that. A lot of them really haven't dug into it. I've been wanting to actually get it, if I can actually read all of it before I actually talk about it. I've seen some stuff, but I want to actually go through the whole thing, and I want to read the whole thing because I know it's a bunch of bullshit. No, it is. And then, you know, like I said before, you got the World Economic Forum that said by 2030 we'll own nothing and everybody will be happy. Mm-hmm. That's 5 years from now.
Right.
So we don't have a whole lot of time here. And you better know that before, it ain't like everything's going to happen in 2030. They want all this shit to be done by 2030.
Yep.
So you don't even have 5 years. They're gonna start fast tracking this stuff. And as you see, before, when we first started talking about it, we were just talking about China. China was the only ones that was doing it. Then it hit Australia. Then it started hitting all the little smaller countries.
Why is
Now
it
you got
always Western countries that fall for this kind of shit?
Yeah,
That's
right.
the one thing the Middle East don't fall for. They're like, nah, fuck y'all.
Now you got it over in the UK. Now you got Canada talking about it. Now they going to pop here because you know it's going to filter here. Everything filters here. So whether you like it or not, this is coming. The best thing for you to do is to be prepared for that coming, because there's going to be a whole lot of shit. I'm telling you, it's going to be a whole lot of shit.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, and I'm pretty sure by then they won't let us have podcasts no more. So we can't go on here and actually tell you.
We won't be able to tell you unless we got your phone number, kind of thing.
Right. So yeah, but we'll have to figure out another way to do it. But it's coming. It's coming. And if you pay attention to it and you see it, especially you ones that watch all the time, and you see that what we're telling you is true, and you know it's true, that's why you keep coming on here watching. Because the same stuff that we're telling you, you actually see it for yourself. This isn't a game anymore. I mean, we're gonna have to. This is like a sink or swim type situation.
Mm-hmm.
Survival, straight survival at this point.
Right, and you're gonna have to figure it out. I mean, like Aaron, wasn't you talking about something about they were, what was it that you were saying? It was dealing with gold and silver, about them being able to stop you from actually purchasing at a period of time.
They did it back in 1933 under Roosevelt, and the Federal Reserve made him pass a presidential executive order that public wasn't allowed to hold gold anymore. They had so many days to turn it in, and the Federal Reserve reduced the value of it so that they could buy it up for the Rothschild family. And then they issued you paper currency to replace the gold and stuff that you turned in that was actually real money. And then a year after they issued the paper currency, they devalued the paper currency. So they burnt you on both ends. And the Rothschild family became the richest family in the world, still is today. They're one of the few blue bloods that are left that are out there damn near controlling the world. But they don't see no need in us. I mean, the world sees the American public as being useless cattle. The herd needs to be called. And if the Georgia Guidestones were still up, it clearly stated on them how many billions of people are going to have to be eliminated to bring the herd within acceptable limits. So they see us as being cattle. They don't even see us as a human being. So
Right.
people need to wake up to what's going on. This is no game. I mean, we're all where we're at in life due to decisions we've made. No one twisted our arms and made us do anything. We made our clear decisions. But moving forward into the future, if you want to get out ahead of this, you got to be making plans now, because this digital currency that they're getting ready to come forward with, it will come forward once they collapse the dollar. And the dollar has been losing so much value. It's unbelievable. It's going down like a flat tire. And they've had this digital currency since probably 85.
I've got a graph for this.
Yeah. And gold and silver is going up. That's going to be your hedge against the inflation and the hyperinflation and land. So
That's right.
Put your money into real assets. If Trump gives you this $2,000, don't go blow it at the gambling casino and say, I had fun looking at the mesmerizing colored lights on the
I was that guy.
Slot machines.
I was that guy for a bit. Yeah.
Get you some gold and silver. Get you some hard assets. Get ready, because like I said earlier, it's only going to get worse. And I'll stop there.
Facts.
Absolutely.
Major facts.
Absolutely. So we just hit the 1 hour mark. So we're gonna turn it down in this show. But before we end, I want to say this for everyone. And I want you to really think about what it is I'm getting ready to say here. Empires don't just fall, they evolve. And right now, America isn't dying. We're deciding. We're deciding what kind of world do we want to live in, whether it's to keep fighting shadows, defending the vision, or whether it's to rise for something wiser. Not being perfect, not being woke, be aware. Now, the new patriotism isn't about flags and slogans. It's about true awareness. It's about humanity. It's about love. It's about people standing next to you, even when they don't agree with you. The real evolution won't come in a ballot, won't come in a protest line. It'll come from the human heart is claiming its peace. Because every country can heal if its people is still at war within themselves. It'll never heal.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe, just maybe, this moment isn't our ending. Maybe it's our mirror showing us who we could actually still become. This is America at a crossroads. And maybe, just maybe, in time, we could actually choose peace over deception, over division, over war, and truly make America great again.
Mm-hmm.
So that's my story for today. Like I said, appreciate everybody for watching. Like, follow, share, subscribe. Pass this on, share it with people. It needs to get out there. People need to be aware of as to what's going on. People need to start looking for what's going on because it's happening. It's happening fast. And if you are unaware, I would hate for anything to happen to anyone because of not knowing information. So pass it out. Those of you that's not on the Facebook page, Dominant Effect, go on there. We post a lot of stuff on there every day. We got the website up. You hit the QR code on the top there to take you there. It's a lot of stuff on there. It shows a lot of the shows, a lot of the merchandise. We got memberships on there. It's a lot of different stuff. There's a lot that we do on a weekly basis. So for these 7 days, by the time we shut this down, we're gonna be jumping on working on the next show for next week. It's a lot of stuff that goes on here, and so we appreciate everyone who comes on and watches, like, follow, subscribe, share. Before we get off, I will say this. Last week, a friend of mine had called from Texas and said that they were at a doctor's office, and after the appointment or whatever, they were talking about stuff that was going on and talking about digital ID and all that different stuff. And the friend of mine was like, hey, I got a friend of mine. He has a show on YouTube. They be talking about stuff like that. And the doctor says, well, yeah, we go on there all the time. We watch this show called The Dominant Effect. And she was like, for real? She was like, yeah. She was like, that's the one I was getting ready to tell you. And then they started talking about the shows we was talking about. So it's getting around. It's getting around. People are watching. People are paying attention. So, like I said, like always, appreciate everyone. Much love to you. See you in 7 days. Go ahead, Aaron.
Well, I'm gonna say this right now. You should be focusing on real assets: land, gold, silver. Stockpiling food, stockpiling your water, over-counter meds, building community with family and friends, because that's going to be your backup right there. And then you should have tools, you should have skills, and that should be your primary focus right now. Because the more you know how to do for yourself, the better off you're going to be with what you're going to be fronted with in the future. So prep. There's no shortcuts here. You got to put in the work. You got to learn new skills. You got to build relationships with people that you can trust. That's the only way that you're going to make it through this. So the first thing you got to do is put one foot in front of the other and take that first step. And from that point forward, it almost becomes contagious. So I'll stop there.
Absolutely, Aaron. I have to say that every week these are super informational videos, man, and I can't thank you guys enough for the conversations that we have. I think that what it boils down to is survival, right, in all situations, and that's definitely where my mindset has not only aligned with how I, it was amazing to be able to correlate and then be able to do that financially and with my own life and all of that stuff. I think people need to understand that this is not a time to go ahead and try to gain some sort of social status with your money by flaunting it and all that. Make sure you guys, actually try to live below your means, not at your means. If you're living at your means, that's way above the means. Unfortunately, most Americans fall for this because of, sadly, envy. They see someone else get a nicer car that's in their neighborhood. Now they've got to have the nicest car. Unfortunately, this works through investments. It works through all sorts of things. Try to acclimate to these problems that we see in life, unfortunately, now, like AI taking over jobs and stuff. Well, don't just, unfortunately, be a victim of it. Get ahead of it. Become active and going, hey, what can I do to maybe be the engineer for the AI system? Let me go ahead and learn that before I lose my fucking job. Unfortunately, it's all about preparation, and people live for today, not living for tomorrow or the next day, unfortunately. So I think that's what it comes down to, survival all the way around. So anyways, with that being said, I can't thank each and every single one of you guys coming this evening. We obviously cannot do this without you guys, so we're very appreciative. Make sure you guys hit that like button. We're going to be rating our buddy Flow State. He's, the Powder Dusty on my side anyways. So we will see you guys here in 7 days. Thank you all so freaking much, and we always appreciate you guys. Hopefully you guys all enjoy the rest of your evening. Much love.
Mm-hmm.